driven out. They haven't worked out how to actually get rid of them, but the Dagen plan says we hope that we can get them into Jordan. Now, it's gone well beyond apartheid. That is what the assault on Gaza was about. It was to demoralise that society so much. Gaza is the only one holding out, you must remember. Gaza has a government, the most democratically elected government in the Middle East, incidentally. Gaza's the only one holding out. On the West Bank, of course there are people individually and in groups holding out, but their elected representatives in people like Abbas have really been coerced. So the Dagen plan is to crush this final enclave, if you like, of resistance to them. I think someone described it as an evolving genocide. Whether or not it's genocide, I think, is debatable, but it is certainly brings new meaning to that term ethnic cleansing.
One thing I wanted to raise, because I can see the audience are all itching to ask their own questions, but the final thing I wanted to raise was, of course, Israel's great and powerful friend, and in particular, the new leadership in the White House, because I remember reading quite a while ago, June or so last year, something that you wrote, which was not at all in line with the general celebrity worship, if you like, of Barack Obama. And I wondered, firstly, why you wrote what you did in the middle of last year when he got the nomination, and secondly, what your opinion is now about the changes, if there are any, brought by the new presidency.
Look, I was invited to speak to the Anarchist annual meeting in London last year, which I very much enjoyed, and we discussed Obama, and I was berated from the audience by somebody for suggesting that Barack Obama wasn't really as he cracked himself up to be, or as the public relations campaign that exists around him made him out to be. And I did note, I think, that it was, I never thought I'd go to an anarchist meeting and find somebody defending the United States president. So we've got a little PR problem here, I think. Barack Obama is another American president, period. And those who invest or choose the opiate of hope render themselves politically impotent. If you go with Obama and the Obama system, or just the present system, the extension of the Bush system, which was an extension of the Clinton system, which was an extension of the Reagan system, and let me tell you, having reported American presidential campaigns for quite a long time, what happens is that the administration that comes in actually adds a layer to what the previous administration does. So, in other words, Clinton added a layer to Reaganite policies. And very much Clinton was the president that brought in a lot of the Reaganite policies, particularly in NAFTA and a lot of the economic policies that have brought the capitalist elite to such a verge of ruin, and of which all these people who were involved with Clinton, of course, have been appointed by Obama. The people who caused all the problem are the people he says who are sorting it out. It's you know, Woody Allen said it, when I gave up hope I felt much better. And that's it. Get over it. whoever is still wringing their hands that just because there is an African American as president, there was an African American woman who was the Secretary of State. One of the nastiest pieces in the Bush administration. I'm sorry, I'm going to a long, I hope, kind of erudite idea of why he does this and that, but just get over it. Because those who are drawn into it, as unfortunately much of the American peace movement has, and the whole point of the Barack Obama campaign was to neutralize them, and he's done that. I mean, his great ground force army took orders from above. There was no participation. They have no debts. In fact, you know, the Obama and his people are now saying, well, the good thing about us is that we have no debts to repay to our supporters. Wow. I mean, is that even in their own terms, democracy? Their supporters gave it all to Obama and asked nothing back. That's not activism. That is not activism. And it's you know, within a couple of months of his inauguration, we have the United States dragging along this dreadful outfit, NATO, and the Brits, and of course Australia running along behind. This hopeless Afghan colonial war. The most reliable estimate of the so-called Taliban, they mean Pashtun, control of that country is 72%. It's over. It's over. But the interesting thing is, among the Pashtun, the dreadful Taliban, the word goes with al-Qaeda and the devil and all the other things that we're told, we're given constantly on the ABC News or whatever newspaper we pick up, those buzzwords that so deny the truth to us. There was a very, very comprehensive study done by a newspaper, something of an aberration, the Toronto Globe and Mail, not all that long ago, and they sent people actually in to go and talk to the Taliban. They found all of them, of course, were Pashtun. Most of them were there because they regarded themselves as mujahideen, which has a long and proud tradition of getting rid of foreign invaders from Afghanistan. Many of them were there because their families had been killed. Something like 1 in 4 had lost a family member in the bombing or whatever, attacks on them. A minority of them, a tiny minority, saw themselves part of a global jihad. And very few of them, actually, it seemed, supported Mullah Omar, the so-called leader of the Taliban. In other words, it was basically a people. They certainly believed in an Islamic way of life, and they certainly believed in Sharia law and all those things, but so as Afghanis have been believing in that for a very, very long time. But it was, their motivation was against the latest colonial invasion. And there's no question that they would drive the foreigners out of their country. And here you have two countries on the verge of bankruptcy, the United States and Britain, the principal parts of this NATO thing, entering into this endless colonial war with the first black Napoleon leading them. You know, telling us all this nonsense in his later speech. The difference with Napoleon actually won a few battles in the beginning, right? But telling us that we're going in, we're not going to stand for this in Pakistan. It was all Bush's language. It's all nonsense. Pakistan is in a terrible state. It's in a very volatile state. And the American involvement in that country is has been and will be disaster. And this is the can-do man. This is the can-do, yes we can, administration. I believe that we really have to be informed about those who would impose this rapacious power upon peoples and ourselves and treat it as such. And those who are starry-eyed about it really waste time.
Well, I have to reluctantly hand you over to the audience now, John. It's been a privilege to speak to you eagerly.